We want to welcome back in former trade advisor to the U.S. Trade Representative and former advisor to UK's Trade Secretary Shanker Singham, currently the CEO of Commentary Group. Good to see you again, my friend. Last time we talked about this, the tariff question was, possible. What would they mean? We've got a year under our belt right now. So what does this ruling mean in the short term? Does this all end, or is this going to be fought out some more?
So I think it's good to be with you again, Tom. And I think we need to sort of take a breath a little bit on what the effect of these tariffs of this Supreme Court case is. So what the court has essentially said is that there are a very specific set of tariffs, the reciprocal tariffs that the president imposed on Liberation Day, that were found to be like taxes, and therefore they should have been done by Congress, not the executive branch. So those tariffs, that policy has been vacated. But as the administration has been signaling actually since probably the end of last year, there are other authorities the president can use. The authority that he's going to use is so-called Section 122, which is a balance of payments provision that allows him to impose these 15% global tariffs that you referred to at the top of your story. So that's what he's going to do, 15% global tariffs. You're allowed to do that for 6 months.
So, Shanker, one of the takeaways from what the Supreme Court said was that the power to impose tariffs rests in the Congress. This president has Republican majority in the House of Representatives. He has a Republican majority in U.S. Senate. Why not just go through the Congress? Because this administration has been very successful at getting its agenda passed.
Yeah, and I think, Congress will get more involved now because 122, this 6-month 15% global tariff, is a bridge to future things. They've already talked about some other authorities, Section 301, Section 338. All of these authorities are based on anti-competitive market distortions and regulatory barriers, those sorts of things, the kind of things that we talked about last time, Tom, that I was on your show. We talked about the president talking about other countries are very bad to us. They do all these, not just tariff barriers, but regulatory barriers, damage to U.S. companies. We're seeing this in many, many countries around the world. We've seen it for decades. Those are authorities that can be used. These require investigations. They are not immediate things, and Congress will certainly weigh in on those. And what I think we will find is that there's actually a bit of a bipartisan consensus in Congress when it comes to barriers that damage U.S. companies, both Republicans and Democrats, on China policy and indeed on other countries where there's damage to U.S. companies. There tends to be a bit of a consensus, certainly enough of a consensus, I think, for a Republican majority House and Senate to work with the administration to deliver what the president needs to deliver, which is, disciplines and robust tariffs when it comes to countries that are distorting their markets to damage U.S. companies.
Shanker, we've got Republicans in the Congress right now that are heading towards a midterm election with an electorate right now who is not happy about the prices of things that they are paying right now. Is there a direct correlation between these tariffs and the stories that we keep hearing from people about how life is costing them more and more every time they turn around?
I mean, the price of goods going up is a factor of many different things. And certainly, if you put a tariff on a particular product, there is a potential inflationary impact to that. But it is not automatic. It depends on how many competitors there are, how much competition there is in that, whether that cost increase will be passed on to consumers. In some cases, that won't happen. In some cases, the importer will pay that cost. In some cases, the exporter will bear that cost, depending on the terms of trade between them. So it's not automatic that the tariff will lead to an increase. But I think, if you want to lower the cost of living in the US, then, the president's agenda of dealing with barriers in other countries, and also dealing with barriers and distortions in our own market, in the US, which he's doing through the executive order on regulations. If you can make all this, come together, you can lower cost of living, and also we are starting to see wage increases coming through. So from the midterm perspective, if that Americans start to feel that, in the next, it's going to have to be soon. It's going to have to be in the next couple of months. Then I think, it may not be a foregone conclusion that the midterms will be tough, for the Republicans.
All right, well, Shanker, I suspect this is not the last time we're going to talk about this as this political debate and this financial question continues. Shanker Singham, thank you so much for joining us once again. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thank you very much.